It began like any other winter day in London, Friday, December 5, 1952. By midday, the familiar London fog had thickened into a dense, yellow-black blanket, swallowing the city whole. The sun vanished, replaced by a murky twilight. Landmarks like Big Ben and Tower Bridge disappeared behind a wall of polluted air. This was the beginning of the Great Smog of London, a disaster that would last 5 days. The air was so thick people couldn't see their own feet. It stung the eyes, burned the throat, and clung to everything. The smog seeped through windows and doors, making escape impossible, even indoors. Traffic stopped. Cars were abandoned mid-road. Buses and trains ceased to operate. The city's pulse slowed to a near stop, isolated under a poisonous dome. At first, Londoners tried to carry on, but as the hours turned to days, fear replaced stoicism. People coughed and wheezed, struggling for breath. Hospitals filled with patients suffering from severe respiratory distress. The city was not just blind, it was choking. The simple act of breathing became a deadly gamble. London had become a place where the very air you needed to live could kill you. The smog was a silent predator, turning daily life into a nightmare. The city that had survived wars and fires now faced an invisible enemy of its own making. For 5 days, Londoners waited, trapped, hoping for the sun to return. The Great Smog had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. To understand the Great Smog, we must look at London's dependence on coal. For over a century, coal powered homes, factories, and power stations, its smoke a symbol of progress. After World War II, the best coal was exported, leaving Londoners with cheap, sulfur-rich fuel that produced thick, toxic smoke. In the cold winter of 1952, millions of fireplaces and power stations belched out a cocktail of soot and sulfur dioxide. Londoners had long accepted pollution as part of life. Romanticized in literature, shrugged off as a nuisance. There were no laws to control air pollution. The smoke was simply an unpleasant side effect of city life. This complacency was dangerous. The link between smoky air and persistent illness was ignored. The focus was on economic growth and warmth, not health. London's total dependence on dirty coal, combined with a lack of regulation, set the stage for disaster. The city was sitting on a ticking time bomb. All it needed was the right weather to ignite catastrophe. And in December 1952, that's exactly what happened. The disaster began with a weather phenomenon. An anticyclone settled over southern England. This created a temperature inversion, cold air trapped near the ground by a lid of warmer air above. With no wind, pollution couldn't escape. London became a sealed bowl, filling with smoke. As coal fires burned, soot and sulfur dioxide accumulated, hour by hour. Natural fog from the Thames mixed with pollutants, creating a dense, acidic smog. Visibility dropped to near zero. In some areas, you couldn't see your own hand in front of your face. The city's transport network collapsed. Trains, buses, and boats stopped. People who ventured outside became lost in a featureless void. The smog seeped into every building. Even indoors, the air was toxic. Cinemas and theaters closed. Homes were coated in greasy black film. There was no refuge. For 5 days, London was held hostage by its own pollution. The city waited desperately for the weather to change. The smog was relentless, a chemical soup that suffocated everything in its path. Only a shift in the wind could bring relief. For Londoners, the Great Smog turned daily life into a struggle for survival. Breathing burned the throat and lungs. Scarves and handkerchiefs offered little protection. Many stayed indoors, but the smog seeped in. There was no escape. Ambulances and police struggled to respond. The city's infrastructure failed. Crime spiked as darkness and confusion reigned. The psychological toll was immense. Constant darkness, eerie silence, and a sense of isolation. The sun didn't rise for 5 days. The world shrank to a few feet of yellow-black haze. Yet there were moments of resilience. Neighbors checked on each other. Strangers linked arms to find their way. The most vulnerable, The very young and the elderly suffered most. For thousands, the struggle to breathe became a battle for life itself. The smog was merciless, attacking the city's weakest without warning. When the smog finally lifted, the true scale of the disaster emerged. The government initially downplayed the crisis, but undertakers and hospitals told a different story. In a typical week, 1,800 people died in London. During and after the smog, deaths soared. Around 4,000 people died in the first days, victims of respiratory and heart failure from toxic air. The very young and elderly were hit hardest, their lungs unable to cope. But the toll didn't end there. In the following weeks, thousands more died from lingering effects. Modern studies estimate the total death toll at around 12,000, with over 100,000 made seriously ill. The Great Smog became Europe's worst air pollution disaster. It was a silent killer, no explosion, no accident, just the cumulative effect of daily life. The disaster forced London to confront a terrible truth. Polluted air was deadly. The cost of progress had become unbearable. The city could never ignore its air again. The government, led by Winston Churchill, was slow to act, at first blaming a flu epidemic. But public outcry and medical evidence made the truth undeniable. Coal smoke had killed thousands. A special committee investigated and called for radical change. Their main recommendation: new laws to control air pollution. The result was the Clean Air Act of 1956, a landmark law. It created smoke control areas, banned dirty fuels, and offered grants for cleaner heating. Factories had to reduce emissions and use taller chimneys. The act transformed London's air. The infamous fogs became a thing of the past. The Clean Air Act became a model for the world, proving government action could save lives. The tragedy forced a fundamental change. Clean air became a public right, not a luxury. London's nightmare had sparked a revolution in environmental policy. The Great Smog of 1952 is more than history, it's a warning for today. The disaster showed that environmental neglect has deadly consequences. The smog was man-made, born from fossil fuels and ignored warnings. Today, cities worldwide face similar air pollution crises. The lesson: ignore science at your peril. The cost of inaction is catastrophe. But the story also offers hope. The Clean Air Act proved that bold action works. Governments can protect public health and the environment if they choose to act. The right to breathe clean air is fundamental. The victims of 1952 remind us the health of people and planet are linked. As we face new challenges, the Great Smog urges us to protect the air we all share.